It's been a little bit since I posted anything, but I've just been busy. So we got a bunch of things going on for the truck real soon here. The car is doing good. I'm waiting on an idler pulley and then I can drive it around again. Found out the belt squeak was actually a idler, so that'll be coming. I'm also gonna do spark plugs on it. Separate video, so I'm not gonna worry about that today. But got some big stuff in the works for the truck, finally. It's been forever. I've been trying to do both of these things for I started the process probably about 3 or 4 months ago now. But that first thing is, finally got our transmission in. So this is a dynamic stage 2 build transmission. He's got a really good reputation with 47 REs. So I will be going over the specs a little bit later, but pretty much, actually, let's go over them right now. So triple disc torque converter, billet flex plate, deeper transmission pan, upgraded servos, all of the good stuff, valve body for towing and with that converter. And then I believe it's still stock input and output shafts. It's okay. So this trans is good to about 450 horsepower wheel, which is pretty much where I'm gonna eventually wind up. I'm hoping to get in the 400s, maybe 380-ish. And torque-wise for a diesel, that's like probably in like the 700, 850 range, which is where I'm trying to be. I just basically want that truck to hang with modern trucks, and especially with outrageous truck prices right now, I still need the truck. And honestly, I like it. I was considering possibly selling it for something a little bit newer, but then I thought about it, and honestly, like after the trans goes in, like it's literally everything I want done to the truck. I mean, there's a few little amenities maybe that I'd want to change, but that's really about it. So I'm gonna continue with the build, and it's a great content maker. It honestly, like the truck can go so much further. So got a lot of stuff in the works for that. But yeah, upgraded clutch packs with extra clutch discs in there, or clutch discs for everything. So the problem with that trans is overdrive is foreshore slipping, and I think a little bit of fourth. But it could also be, so I was looking into some other stuff. I did a fluid change with synthetic, and apparently the full-on synthetic fluids can occasionally cause issues, but it also causes for ATF +4, which is synthetic. On that note, this one takes Dexron 3 and a additive, which I'll show you right here. So that's my oil right there. And then it takes a additive called Lube Guard. I have 2 of them because after 1,500 miles, you're supposed to do a fluid change and filter change, get out of any built-up stuff. So different fluid altogether. That's suggested by the manufacturer, and pretty much the reason for that is the torque converter. The single disc torque converters love everything about the fully synthetic ATF +4, and once you go triple disc and upgrade different things, follow your builder. He recommended X3 and a bottle of Lube Guard Black, which is what I went ahead and went with. So when this goes in, hopefully really soon here, that'll be that. Next big update, wheels and tires. So I'm gonna go and show them to you now. I just got done polishing them earlier today. It was a nightmare. I used a 10-inch orbital. This is some carnage from it. And 10-inch orbital, microfiber, and a lot of hand polishing. I used Mother's aluminum mag polish, this stuff right here. And it actually came out really well. But, so yeah, the rear barrels took forever, and they're definitely not perfect. These are used semi-wheels. I will do a price breakdown on everything later once they're actually mounted up. I'm waiting on an alignment tool because the way the spaces, I'll explain it later. But yeah, so they're not perfect, but I want them taking 150 grit to this whole area here, and because I wanted to get them, you know, nice shiny face, and it was not happening. But I went with a 23 1250 22, and I did measure this out. It is on I can't pull it up right now, but it is on an 8.25 inch wide wheel. So it actually did suck in about an inch, so it's about an 1150. I measured it out just because I was curious. And without any spacers or anything, the rears have about an inch of clearance. That I can actually show you. But once they're up, touching, you can see there is some clearance in there, and these things are not gonna squish down almost at all because of the way they are. So, pretty happy with that. But let's go ahead and knock out a couple of simple things on the truck. So a while back, the issue that I had a belt squeak, and I replaced the idler, or the tensioner pulley. I replaced the alternator because it kept coming from that area, and neither of those things did the trick, and I've come to the conclusion that my actual tensioner is probably shot. So I'm gonna replace that, and I'm also replacing my fuel filter today because it's been well over 10,000 miles, and I definitely should have done it at 10,000 miles. But for the AirDog 165, there's about 11, 12 bucks fuel filter off Rock Auto. The Wix 33626 or the Napa 3626, same exact filter, just rebranded, is what's on there. The Napa one's on there right now. So I'm gonna swap out filters real quick, and we'll go ahead and call it a day. Last thing I need to do, I don't know if you guys can see, but I do have aftermarket headlights in this truck, and I'm running an LED bulb. Now 9004 and 9007 are they are an identical fit bulb. The difference is the high beam and low beam wires are switched. So I don't remember which one goes in this truck. I keep forgetting to look it up. But whatever set I bought, they're swapped. So I'm honestly gonna probably pull out the bulbs, cut the wires, swap them. Then I also need to aim these suckers. So I never really aimed them in terms of like, I never really aimed them properly. I just wanted to make sure they weren't blinding people, and they aren't. They're really not, because they're shining about right where the Mustang is sitting. So driving at night is either high beams or you don't see anything. So I need to like adjust these things and get it figured out. I'm probably gonna raise them, lower the garage door right here, just bring it down, put a tape line, and maybe raise them up like an inch or two, and then see how that looks. So let's go ahead and take it along real quick, see if we get any updates. And then this thing got plastered with bugs literally yesterday. It was spotless. But when I had to go out and pick up the wheels and tires, and on the way back, it was just going straight from the worst possible time of like 5 o'clock all the way to like 9:30, 10 when I was driving back, and it just got destroyed. So that's pretty much what's going on with the truck. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out a couple things, and then we should be good to go. Should be able to hear the difference. Whoop, left it on just a little too long. Whoops. So last time I did this, it like sealed a little bit by itself. This obviously didn't do that. My mistake. Spattered out just a wee bit too much fuel. Should have had it whoops. Should have had it tightened a lot more. Again, my mistake. All right, just the e-brake, and you can see it's now got about 1 inch of additional travel right there. I was trying to figure out why it was tight before, and I freaking had my pedal all the way in just out of habit. Another reason I'm pressing the transmission is because the damn the parking prol is completely worn out. But let's go ahead and pull forward real quick. Make sure she's good. Oh yeah, she's nice and tight now. There we go. Sick. Yeah, it's not like going straight to the floor anymore. So that's awesome. 2 things down. Let's go ahead and knock out tensioner and headlights. All right, so tensioner is right down here. It's a 13 millimeter that holds it on. I already got the belt loosened up, so nothing to worry about there. And the reason I think it's the tensioner at this point is because notice the belt doesn't sit on it right. Like all the other pulleys sit just fine, but the tensioner happens to be off by a few degrees. The belt like rides off the side of it, and I'm pretty sure it's because the tensioner is just worn out. But let me go ahead and grab this guy out, and I'll show you the comparison between the new and the old one. Okay, so this is the old one, and just a quick side-by-side comparison. Interesting. This one's actually a lot thicker, which I find interesting because that'll offset the belt differently. Looking at where those arms are lined up. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's a pretty substantial difference. I wonder if this is even the right tensioner. But what I was getting at is the reason it's different. I don't know whether you can see that, but you see that little line on the outside? So the belt was riding on that line and leaning toward the inside of here, so there's almost no clearance. And I don't see any rub marks, but I think it just being off center like that was causing some issues in terms of belt squeak and other stuff. So this one's also a few other differences. I think this is the gates that I went with, but you can see where the hole size is different, 1/2 inch versus 3/4. I don't know. Very different units. Front side, got this nice thick washer around here. This one does not. So, I don't know. But let's go ahead and pop this guy on, and we'll see if that fixed our belt squeak issue. All right, new tensioner's on. You can't see it, but the alignment's definitely a lot better. And I don't know what's up with that old one. I don't know if this is gonna fix the belt squeak issue. What originally fixed it last time is I went ahead and had to change out belts, and it was probably because the old tensioner was getting loose and it wasn't holding it tight enough, and was eventually wearing it out pretty quick. Very possible same thing happened. So even though I did the tensioner, the belt might be pretty worn out and need a new one, but we'll see. I'm gonna start it up, rev it around a little bit, and we'll see how it sounds. Nope, that did it. It was squeaking really bad in the mid RPM range or when I hit the thing. Oh yeah, she's good now. Well, there's old girl. So, looks like the headlights are about where I want them now. It's not blinding people, and they're also down. Eventually the plan is to go ahead and do a actual conversion for a projector of some kind. But for right now, I think it's good enough. Well guys, that's pretty much gonna do it. I've determined it is impossible to work on this truck without getting dirty in some way, shape, or form. But fuel filter's done. I did find out why it was a different part number. I recall that when I replaced it the first time, when I first got the truck, the reason I replaced it the way I did is I just basically looked at the fuel filter that was on it. It was a Napa, looked at the part number, went to the store, bought it, put a new one on, same part numbers before. The one that I got this time was off of AirDog's site. I went ahead and looked, well, I bought it on Rock Auto, but I looked for supplemental filters. The AirDog fuel water separator and filter combo is about 50 bucks. Like I said, there's not much water almost ever in mine. The only reason you'd ever need to replace it is if there's been water in it and it's starting to rust out, or for any other reason, you know, your adjustment thing or your valve to open it and drain it is broken or whatever. So otherwise they're pretty much a non-replaceable item unless they like break. So I just need a fuel filter, and I remember getting a Napa last time, went and got that one. So again, the reason that one is different, because that was the actual recommended by AirDog replacement if you can't get their proprietary one. So that's what I went ahead and went with. That's why it's bigger and different, which is interesting still, but I don't think it hurt anything, is what it is. The big thing it'll gum up is probably injectors, but I do plan on replacing those eventually, so whatever. Other than that, wheels and tires, like I said, are done. I'm gonna do a price breakdown in the actual wheels and tires video of how much it cost me. But I think as far as the truck is concerned, the transmission goes in, wheels and tires are on. It's probably gonna be done for a little while. I've dumped a lot of money into this in a very short period of time. You saw my cost breakdown. That was not including wheels and tires or a transmission. So stack on another $5,700 for the transmission, and well, it was about $3,700 for the wheels and tires, which really isn't bad for that style semi-wheel setup. That's including the adapters and everything. But I hunted for about a year to try and get my adapters on Facebook Marketplace for a discounted price, which worked. The wheels themselves were used semi-wheels that I had milled down, and that worked. I'll go ahead and put everything in the description on the wheel video, of course, for the whole breakdown of that and how that went down. But thanks for watching, guys. That's gonna do it. We got our e-brake figured out. Belt squeak's gone, which is awesome. The shit was driving me nuts. And we got our headlights aimed properly. I didn't swap the wires around. I'll do it another day. I'm tired. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. If you have any questions, leave them down below.